am Jermaine, the G in the G class, mother of 4, entrepreneur, influencer, executive administrator, creator, to name a few, and now your podcast host. Hey everybody, welcome back to the G Class podcast. I'm Jermaine, your host, and I have Sachiko Baez here today, Chef Sachi, as she's called sometimes, and I'm just so excited to have you here. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I just want to kind of get some background with Sachi and get some information and just, talk to you about how you became a chef and what inspired you to become one. And just a little bit of background on the podcast. What I like to discuss, I believe it's like a universal story.
Right.
So my story, your story, our story.
Okay.
And I believe that we can all learn from each other. We can all learn from each other's mistakes and like our wins and our celebrations, and just dropping those jewels and then passing those things down to the next generation and the next and the next.
Right.
I feel like in our community, the Black community, we don't talk enough about how do we get from point A to B to C to B to D, you know what I mean?
Yes.
We have setbacks and we have different things that happen, but we don't really share those
Right,
stories. So this is what this podcast is for.
Okay.
So I'm just so honored that you're here. Once you guys hear this lady's story, and look at her, she's beautiful, beautiful Black woman, professional, super sweet. So I'm just so happy to have you here, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely.
This is my first official podcast.
Is it? Official? Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, let's see. We can start by what inspired me was actually my grandmother.
Okay.
My grandmother is originally from Kobe, Japan. She grew up in Gifu, but met my grandfather in Japan.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. He was stationed there, and met him there. They fell in love. Came to Alabama.
Wow. Japan to Alabama. Wow.
Japan to Alabama in the 50s, I think? 40s, 50s, something like that.
Okay.
And she learned how to cook Southern food from my great grandmother and my great great grandmother. They taught her that.
Right.
So she is a very interesting woman, or was a very interesting woman with the Japanese, and she had that deep South.
Yes.
She learned it. Which we don't have that much anymore of, where you just learn from generations and generations.
We don't have big mama no more.
Right. So I always took an interest in that at a very young age with her. Around 7 years old is when I kind of realized that that's something that I wanted to pursue.
Okay.
I used to play, kids, they play house and do all this stuff. We used to do family reunions.
Oh.
Yeah, like beach houses, like Virginia Beach.
Okay.
And so there's always like this room that's like a sitting room. And so I would just set the table up, set it up like and then I would pretend I was a server, and I would pretend I was like everything. And then my uncle, Takashi Buford, he actually caught me doing it. He's like, what are you up to? And he just kept seeing me doing it like every day by myself.
Right.
And then he started saying, okay, this is Booley's Cafe. That's my nickname for him.
Aww.
And so it just caught on, and then my family were like, okay, let's do this. Let's really play this game. So then because I wasn't old enough to cook, they started cooking, and I would take the everybody's orders and put it, pretend I'm putting it somewhere and telling them. And so we just had a system, so I was like, I love this. So I just,
at that age,
that was my goal.
Wow.
And so I try to figure out how to get there. I always knew I wanted to be a restaurant owner, but I was like, how am I going to get to that spot, Okay, maybe I should go to university to get a business degree. I tried that. Wasn't so into it because it wasn't really the passion that I was looking for. So I decided to go to Culinary School when I was like 17, 18.
Okay, very young.
Yeah. Did a 2-year program. They do offer college degrees. And so I did that, and then I worked for Wolfgang. It's funny though, I actually went to culinary school in Atlanta. The culinary school I went to originally it's in London, but they had one in California where I lived and I'm raised.
Okay.
And their gimmick was, if you get straight A's, 4.0 GPA, Wolfgang Puck will choose you to be a part of his team for the Oscars. So me, I was like, that's what I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, let me go to this school. So I was like, but I want to get out of California.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, I found this school in Atlanta, right? Little did I know they didn't offer it all the way in Atlanta. Yeah.
Oh, so you went?
So I went, I did my 4.0, I did the whole thing, and I was like, wait, where's this offer? They were like, what offer? This doesn't exist here. So I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? And like one of the chefs actually surprised me because he was a black man, and he was like, okay, what are you gonna do after here? And I was like, I'm working for a Wolfgang Club. And he was like, haha. He was like, they ain't gonna hire your black ass.
Literally said those words?
Literally said those words to me. And I was like, okay, watch him.
Watch this.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Just
he worked with you, or he went to school with you?
He was my chef. He was my teacher. He was my teacher. And he said that. And I said, wow, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So, things align, in your life, and your path. You never know what's gonna happen, but you just gotta follow your path.
Right.
When it feels good to you, you're on that right path. And my mom had a friend. The friend was walking down the street and met a woman that worked for Wolfgang.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they were like talking, and then she's like, "Oh, my friend's daughter is in culinary school, and she's looking for an internship." And she was interested in Wolfgang Puck, and she's like, give him, and she was a black woman. They're both black women.
Wow.
She's like, she's the
Shout out
only
to
black
us.
woman, only black woman in the administrative department. And she's like, let her give me a call, and we'll put her through.
See?
Yeah, that's blessings, right?
Oh, I don't even know what to say. There's so many layers to that story. So for your teacher, your trainer, to tell you that, first of all, it's so derogatory. So disrespectful.
Yeah.
You got the A's, you got the straight, you did what you were supposed to do, and then to say they're not going to hire your black ass, like that's
From
what did
him.
you do? What did you? How did you react?
I was really taken back by that statement, and I was like, in my head, I was like, yeah, why would you say that to me? Like, even if for some odd reason that would have been true, which it wasn't, you shouldn't discourage somebody.
Absolutely not. And then a fellow black person. We got to stop that. We have to stop being so discouraging and condescending. I mean, I think that's another topic that we can delve into. But wow, okay.
Yeah, but it kind of drove me to. I'm kind of one of those people that are like, oh, okay, watch me, watch this. I'm gonna figure it out. But it was just everything just happened. It just aligned. It just happened.
That's amazing.
So you jumped right on that
after Atlanta. And so you went back to LA?
Yeah, I did my internship with Wolfgang Puck Catering.
Okay.
And
how was that?
It was amazing. I got to work under amazing chef. His name was Matt Bensavegan. He passed away.
Okay.
He became my mentor. He was like one of the best influencers in my life. He was from New Jersey, so we kind of had, I'm born in Harrisburg, so we kind of had that connection, that bond. And he never made me feel like I was out of place.
Because God will give you who you need as well. Will give you who you need.
That guidance,
Yes.
And I was fresh, so when I walked in the door, I had my culinary uniform on, like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I came in, they shoved a chef jacket in my hand, and they said, take that crap off. Forget everything you learned in culinary school. We're getting ready to reteach you. And I was like, ooh. I was very scared because I was 19. I'm so fresh with everything.
Right.
And I was like, okay,
wow.
What does this mean?
Yeah.
And only black female at the time.
Oh my gosh.
So I was really kind of like,
intimidated, or?
A little bit, yeah. Mainly not because I'm black and everybody else was something else, but because I was inexperienced. And they were very hardcore. When I went into culinary, it was still that culture where it's, the culinary culture is very military-like.
Is it really?
It's very strict and very hard.
Okay.
Physically, emotionally, mentally, very, very hard. So I came in that really aggressive era of culinary. Nowadays, it's a little better. Okay. So they're getting to a better place. Okay. Which they should be, but you don't want to stress your chef out. Like, if I'm going to a restaurant, I don't want my chef to be on stress level 10. You know what I mean? I just think it matters. Yeah, I mean, it was like back there. you know that show, what's it called, Hell's Kitchen?
Yes.
It was like that. It was like that every day. That's the norm. You know, that's the normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be like that anymore. You know.
Why do you think that is? Is it a make or break thing, or?
Yeah, it is. It's. And I think it's something that just went back from generations to generations. It's very strict and like precise way to do a lot of things.
Got it.
And then when I came in straight into fine dining, which is like the top, caliber.
Absolutely.
So it was very strict. Everything had to be uniform. Everything. You can't slack or play around. So it's like you really have to be really strict about it.
Yeah. Do you think that was helpful for you to come straight into that level? Or would you, like, if you in hindsight, what do you think?
I do. I think because I love structure and I love an organized environment and to have the ability to be so creative. I think in the lower calibers of cooking, like short order cooks or something, they don't really have that ability to be creative. They just kind of have to push the food out and get it.
Right.
And this way, you kind of learn about the food. Like you learn about your meat, or you learn about the produce, and not just throwing it on the plate and sending it out.
Yeah.
You really
how things cook down and sauces and
learn how to really love it and understand it, because there's a lot of science. Believe it or not, a lot of science behind cooking. That you wouldn't necessarily know. I mean, salt isn't just for seasoning, which people don't ever know because it's like that's all you learn it for. But
that's awesome. It's so interesting because growing up, you kind of learn the basics. You learn how to cook. Most of us do. Does it ever tire you out? Like, 'cause I find so I've learned. My mom taught me how to cook. We're from the South. We're from Georgia. So I was, in the kitchen helping out 8, 9, 10 years old. But I didn't. That wasn't a dream of mine. So it's interesting that you knew that. And I just love to hear stories where people find their purpose so early in life. Like you knew. You know what I mean? So it's like you already had that goal and that vision in mind, and you knew you wanted to do that. But so like growing up and like just kind of helping my mom, and then of course as a teenager, I had dinner week or it was my turn. But now that I have a family of my own, it tires me out. Like I'm exhausted after I cook. Like is it still fun for you? Is it still something you love?
It is. It gives me a different feeling when I'm cooking, but it depends on the environment as well. It's funny, I don't cook that much at home. Because I'm always at work cooking or catering or something like that. But it can be exhausting. I've done 24 hours. I've done like 18-hour days for months and not have a day off. So it's a very, very difficult.
Oh my goodness.
Career. Very, very hard physically on you.
Standing
swollen,
and moving.
Legs swollen, coming home. There's times when you're standing for 18 hours, then you sit down and you try to get back up. It's not. So it's really, really important for me to maintain a good health. Good nutrients and rest, and exercise, because it's very easy not to do those things. Just always
so tired.
Cooking, and then you just go downhill. I've had some really bad health issues because I just neglected it and I just stayed with cooking. But when I get to those hours, I try not to think about it. I just try to think about the goal. Because once you start going,
your mind.
I'm on my 8th day now and I'm getting tired. Then you start really feeling it.
Because your mind tells, like, okay, you tired? Oh, I got you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like that, your thoughts and your energy, it really does mean a lot, that mindset.
But you do have to listen to your body.
You do.
Not, ignore it.
You really do. Because it tells you, okay, let's relax, let's sleep. I think people, the whole hustle culture is gotten out of control. I mean, I think people think if you just put like your body will break down for you and sit you right on down. You know what I mean?
I had a really, really bad year once. I just was promoted to being a sous chef. Right? So that was like a goal of mine for a minute, and I was like so excited, and I was like, I'm gonna push and push. So one thing I was doing or wasn't doing was eating right. And the reason why is because the way that the kitchen was, I didn't see any of my chefs eating, and I was like proving myself. I thought I had to do that. And I was like, okay, they're not eating, I'm not eating, we're gonna go. So I developed an eating disorder where I would binge eat at night, like 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was a bad, or I would eat cake or something, just like give me something to fill me up.
Yeah.
I was going through that. I was married, going through a divorce. My grandmother, that's like raised me like a mother, passed away.
Wow.
And then I was doing this eating disorder thing and not exercising, had insomnia.
Oh, girl.
And I went, and
oh, wow.
my hair started falling out. And I just went through a whole, and then I tried to start exercising.
Yeah.
Then I started getting these really bad chest pains. So I was like,
because you weren't eating or having the nutrients first.
Yeah, so I went to the doctor. Turns out I was anemic. I developed, and I didn't know it. So it was so long that it gave me a heart murmur.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I went through. Yeah. So it was so important to like listen to
your body.
And after that, I was like, then I became borderline diabetic because I was eating
all
that
the
cake. Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I gotta find balance in my life, spiritually, mentally, physically, because this is not worth it.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's really important to teach, like our younger generation, and even our older generation that's still, you know, out there working. Like you have to find that balance. Nothing is worth, you know. One thing my grandmother told me before she passed, she was like, money will not buy you health.
That's right.
She's like, you work a lot. Trust me when I'm telling you right now. Money will not buy you health. And I took that. I said,
yeah, it is your health. I mean, because you know, you could be the richest person in the world, but if you're health and being unhealthy or feeling sick, it's depressing.
Yeah.
And I know for most people it is because you're used to being able to be mobile and go do what you want. But when your body doesn't allow you for whatever reason, it puts you in a bad state.
Yeah.
You know, physically and mentally, emotionally. So I think it is very important. And like you said, I think our community, our Black community, you know, we're just used to eating what we've always eaten. Some collard greens and fried chicken and fried this and fried that. And, you know, I think we don't talk enough about nutritional health and how that impacts your everything else, your emotions, your balance, just your well-being in general. How do you find, or is it still hard for you to kind of relay that message or convey that to people? Or
I think now, believe it or not, the pandemic has really changed the thought process in the restaurant business, even by itself. We're having our own pandemic right now because no one really wants to go back to work. Yeah. But, you know, I think what it is they don't want to go back into that environment.
Yes.
And even chefs, they don't want to be that, you know, in that type of light where all they're doing is working like dogs or whatever and not taking care of themselves. Everybody is looking for that life balance because we were forced to sit down and, you know, take care of ourselves. And now we feel it. We're like, yes, this is how it should be.
Exactly.
So now I feel like it's starting. It's starting. We just have to keep going
with it.
Yeah, and keep expressing that and motivating others to do that.
I agree.
You know, because a lot of times people can kind of push you to work and just like, oh, you're weak for this and that. But you know, that mentality has to change.
Oh, I'm done with that. I mean, and you're right. It really forced me to say to myself, you know, I think there's no right time to make a pivot. Did you hear about the Great Resignation?
No.
So that is, I guess, it's been a study throughout the pandemic where, what is it, like 400,000 people, maybe close to 1 million people are not, they're resigning from work. Like they're not going back to their traditional jobs or roles or what they've, you know, kind of just been accustomed to over the years. And I think a lot of people, so when you said there's kind of a shortage in the restaurant industry and across the board, really, a lot of people are like, I'm not going back to that, you know. Now when we see that we can function at home, we can work from home, we can, things had an impact and kind of hit certain industries worse than others, but for the most part, you can work from home or have some other freelance or whatever side hustle, whatever you want. So a lot of people are like joining that movement, myself included, because I'm just like fortunately, you're one of those people who knows your purpose, you know your path. But for those of us who are kind of just like finding out what that is, like especially into adult life, it's like, okay, do I risk it all? Like, especially if you have kids, like I have kids. So is now a good time? Do I need to save this first? Do I need, but sometimes it's like, okay, it's a now or never. Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, at least I don't have the regret later to say I never tried or I wish I would have. Right. And then I'm like, I think for the most part, if I have to fall back on my skills and my job experience, I can do that too. Right. You know what I mean? Yep, exactly. But I think it's great for people who are like, you know what, I'm done with that. It was stressful. I'm not personally the type of person who wants to work in an office 8 to 5. Yeah, like, girl, I was dying in there. I'm like, I cannot do it. So I'll just shout out to the people, who want to pivot and just like do something different.
I did go through that too. I'm still there as far as those changes because I worked for Wolfgang for 15 years. Oh. Pandemic happened and I got laid off. Okay. And then I just had my own. I was like, okay, let me have my own. Let me do my own thing. Yeah. I have all the same resources as Wolfgang Putt. Yeah. I mean, for the most part of his main restaurant. So luckily, I made friends and networks throughout the whole time. I was a chef for him. And so all I did was call people, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. And they said, I'll help you. Whatever you need, I got you. Whether it was helping me put the logo together, helping me with produce, deliveries, and meat and everything. And so in California, a lot of people go out. I mean, that's really all they ever did is go out to eat. Yep. And the clientele, I could still maintain that clientele because I had the same quality. Exactly. And so that was my pitch. It was like fine dining in your home, in your own home. And holiday seasons were coming. Yep. And, with people having all the losses and just the stress of the pandemic. Yeah. It was very helpful. I mean, a lot of people were like, thank you so much for doing this because I was going through all these things and I was thinking, how am I going to put this holiday, together? Yep. And it's funny because working, I just got used to not being home for holidays. I was not home for any holidays. I'm working because the restaurant's always open for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, New Year's, Mother's Day. So I always worked. Okay. And I'm a mother. I have an 11-year-old daughter. Right. So, I mean, we had to adjust, and it's a very, very difficult adjustment. Yeah. But once pandemic hit, I was like, wait, I'm home. I can be here for Thanksgiving. Yeah. And then I can also do all of this catering and be home for Thanksgiving. Exactly. It's right. Yeah, so I ended up doing that, and it was very successful. Good. I did some celebrities. I did some just well-off people, and I did some regular people that just wanted something nice. And they maybe just don't want to cook. You know what I mean? Exactly. Or don't know how. Exactly. So it really helped me them closing restaurants because they closed restaurants. I was like, oh, I got takeout only. Here I am. All the same quality. Wow. Everything that came from Spago, which is one of his main restaurants, I had. Wow. Same meat, same produce, caviar, truffle, everything they had, I had. Oh. So it was really easy. Believe it or not, I couldn't believe how easy it was for me to just pick up and start it. Wow. Up here. Yes. But see, and that's where my mentality has always been. See, that's the key. Up there. Yep. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't go to college. The minute. Yeah, it's like, I can't do all these things. They're like, even though my prices reflected that. As they should. Yeah, I did. Oh, you mean the higher level? Yeah, I did like gumbo pop-ups. I did all these things, and the price was not cheap, but I had king crab, live king crab that I cooked for, so it was like all the quality was always there. Yeah. And so, I mean, it gave me that mindset that, I can do this on my own. Yes. I don't need to work for anybody else. So that's in my mind now. I'm like, man, I gotta work for myself. Yes. And it's weird because I never thought about it right now for myself. I kept making excuses. Like, there's fear. There's a little, you can do it, but the fear. Time. Yep. Maybe in a couple of years. Yep. Maybe when my daughter is in high, whatever. Yep. And I always pushed it back. And then this forced me to like, okay, I got to do this on my own.
Yeah.
I got a kitchen, I got, all these things in line.
Right.
And it worked out, and I had time. I could say, no, I'm busy. I have something to do
This
with my
is
daughter.
blocked out.
Yeah,
That's
this is blocked out.
Yes.
I couldn't do that before. And I was
Right.
like, this is nice. And I do want that. I'm like, that's the life that I want.
Yes.
That balance.
Me too.
Yeah.
I want to be able to still go to basketball games or
Right.
and still make the money that I can make, but not be forced to. And I was going to ask you about having a daughter, but like having the mom guilt, missing events, missing holidays, missing different things. And I, as an entrepreneur or someone who just has goals, their own goals and dreams as a mother, we experience guilt sometimes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because we have to be away from our kids, So did you go through that, or did she have any reservations?
we did. We had a lot, especially when she was younger, like 4 or 5 years old, and going through a divorce with her father.
Yeah.
It was very difficult because I worked, like I said, long hours. And I chose that career.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to figure something else out.
Right.
That's going to be okay with the both of us and be able to make the money so we can live comfortably.
Exactly. Support.
And
her.
so it was very. I mean, thank goodness for my parents.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'd be able
Yeah.
to even be where I'm at because without their support, they're like, we got her.
That support system, and
definitely.
And then you trust them. That's her grandparents.
Definitely.
So you have to get a babysitter and this and that. So
yeah, and so it's just for me with my daughter, it was a constant talking to a lot, just talking. Yeah. And having to compromise as far as like maybe I'll get home at 2. She has to go to school in the morning. I'm getting up at 6, and I'm taking her. These things that I have to do. It's like, no, I'm not gonna sleep in. Whatever. Let me get up and get her to school at least.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure you have everything you need.
Yeah.
But
then I think that's something they remember as they get older. In the moment it looks like they're upset or they complain, but I think as they get older, like my mom worked her butt off. But she got up and she took me to school, or I remember the days that she did this and that. And, I think because we go through that, like you said, your parents, you recognize the sacrifice and the support that they gave you.
Right.
So I think, as long as we keep that in mind and keep that goal in mind, because so many times, like my mom, for instance, like she played tennis. She was a great tennis player.
Wow.
Trophies.
Oh, wow.
And then she got married and had my sister and I, and, divorced. So I think sometimes when life hits us, we lose out, or we not lose out, but we kind of shift our dreams or put things on the back burner to raise our families. Yep. And now I think, we've had a lot of tragedy with the pandemic, we lost a lot of lives. But I think some of the good things that have come out of it is now we are in a position where we can say, hey, I can do it this way. I can spend more time, and I don't have to sacrifice all of my dreams just because I'm a mom or a dad or whatever you are. So I think that's, there's good things that come out of a bad situation sometimes.
Definitely.
So I feel positive and hopeful that like more of us, especially younger entrepreneurs, have more of a shot to like really build that life that we really want, and not be 70 or later, you're older and you're like, man, I just should have tried.
And that's something my grandmother said too. She's like, I wish I would have went to culinary school and been a chef, because she actually had a restaurant here in Harrisburg. I don't remember what street it's on, but it might have been no, I don't know exactly where it was, but it was Japanese American fusion.
Ooh.
And she sold like cheeseburger subs, and she sold fried rice, and she
love
sold
that.
a lot.
It's a mix,
And she made it affordable for people, and it was like right across the street from my mom's school, so like kids could come and nice. And so when she saw me in school, culinary school, and then going into a restaurant, she's like, I wish I would have done that, but she's
inspired
had a kid, and then she just shifted and put her dreams on the back burner. Right before I got pregnant, I was actually on my way to Singapore to be a part of the opening team for a restaurant, Wolfgang restaurant there.
Okay.
And we were like getting visas and the whole process, and I got pregnant, and I found out I was pregnant. And when I told my chef, which is another one of my mentors, his name is Lee Hefter.
Okay.
He was like, it was like telling my dad. I was so like,
I know. You so
yeah. He was like, just don't forget your goals and your dreams. Just because you have a kid, don't forget.
Love that.
And I said, okay, I'm not going to forget, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And it is hard. It's a compromise. I said, okay, I had to think about it. Okay, what am I compromising right now?
Yes.
You know, what am I going to compromise later?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And so I decided to do this now.
Yeah.
And later it's
have
all...
the benefits.
Yep.
Yeah. And I love that it came from a male. You know what I mean? Because typically we don't hear that. Because the men, and not to make this a sexist conversation or anything, but typically they don't have to make those concessions or sacrifices when they have kids. You know, they just can still kind of go and do their thing. So I love that he was supportive in that way. You know what I mean? And still was like, don't forget, push yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like I have a very unique, special upbringing in the Wolfgang Puck team because so many really important chefs that just gravitated towards me, just really taught me a lot.
Nice.
And helped me become as strong as I am because I was the only woman.
Wow.
For a very long time.
How about that?
And definitely the only black person.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, and up until just a few years ago.
Okay.
Might have been 2 more black men. So I pretty much in the culinary world was raised with all boys.
Yeah.
And only, African American woman.
And I think it kind of sharpens a woman in that way.
It does.
You
it definitely made me
really
thick
strong. Skin, and you know what I mean.
And then the way my dad raised me too. He would do this, and I hated it so much. And he would debate with me, and he would about anything, and he would be like, "I think the sky is orange. What you think?" And I would be like, "Okay, Dad, yeah, sure." And he's like, "No. Tell me
why do you think?
I don't want to do this."
Yeah.
But it actually helped me stand up for myself.
Okay.
It's like,
defend your position.
Yeah, this is right.
Yep.
So it's like that helped me a lot to be able to stand up to a lot of things that I went through as the only female in the kitchen.
Good. That's great. Oh, so we were gonna touch on your daughter. What your daughter said.
Yeah. I mean, she did have a hard time. About 4 or 5 years old. So one day I'm getting ready for work, and she goes, "Mom, take a picture of me." I said, "Well, why?" She said, "So you can remember what I look like." And that crushed me. I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to go." But but she's such a calm and just wonderful kid. That she was so easy. She never gave me any problems. And luckily, she wasn't,
the rebellious thing,
acting out. So I got real blessed with good parents, good daughter, good family.
That's
just that whole situation.
I know it's tough. It's tough going through separations and families changing and this and that. It is a lot. I know my youngest is 6, and like it's been times that I had to like leave out to do something, and he's like crying at the door, pulling my leg. Mommy, don't go. But then I call home because I feel bad, and in 20 minutes he's fine. He's like, "Mom, I'm watching whatever." So I'm like, okay,
right? Yeah.
But no, you do feel that initial like guilt, but then you don't want to have like feelings of self-betrayal. Like I didn't get what I needed to do or wanted to do because I'll see the goal,
Yeah.
I did want to touch on, you mentioned when you set your prices high for your dishes and your meals.
Yeah.
Tell me why you think that's so important, because I think we black women especially, we underprice ourselves so much. So why was that important to you to keep your prices high?
Well, the main reason for me is that the quality of the food stayed, what's the word I'm looking for? Elevated, I guess, or stayed at the highest quality possible.
Right.
So to maintain that quality, my prices had to reflect it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I believe that for anything, your prices add value to what you're doing. If I sold the gumbo for $10, you know it's cheap.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it is, cheap.
Yep.
But, you know, it's funny with black people.
Talk to us, girl.
Black people don't understand that. I feel like a lot of black people don't understand that, and they want something for a cheap price.
Yeah, but they want good quality.
But they want that quality.
Mm-hmm.
But that don't add up, you know? If I'm spending $175 for a crab,
yep,
so that it's fresh, live crab,
yes,
to put in a little gumbo,
yes,
I'm gonna charge accordingly.
Exactly.
If I'm doing it, I made it myself.
And from scratch, it's fresh.
From scratch,
ingredients,
yeah.
everything.
And it's like a lot of people who aren't used to paying a lot of money for things, they're gonna compare it that way, like this is all the same, but it's never all the same.
No.
There's always brackets, you know, quality brackets, and you pay for what you get.
That's right.
And I've always been an advocate of that. And you know, I did get a lot of flack when I did my gumbo pop up, and I charged $45.
Okay.
Gumbo was like 24-ounce gumbo, side of rice, cornbread.
Yeah.
You got lemonade, iced tea.
Yeah.
Everything was made fresh. Like my daughter made the lemonade.
Okay.
She's like doing that.
Right.
It wasn't no child labor. It wasn't. I paid her
to keep her.
Right. Right. She wanted to do it, but every single part of it was made from scratch, and with quality, and had labels and bags, and all that costs a lot.
And the time
and the time, and the quality of it is gotta reflect in the price. And you want to separate yourself always.
True.
You know, so if you're black excellence, you want to show that in your price.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you just black.
and you got fried chicken only on the menu,
and that's going to reflect in your price.
True.
Chicken is right now, the prices went up.
True. True. If you really want it, you're going to pay it.
Yeah,
you know?
If you want that experience and that quality, you pay for it always, just like a restaurant. But that's my mentality.
Right.
You know, it's always here.
Yes.
It's never down here.
Right. And it's hard to go back. It's hard to go from, you know, just make a funny reference from filet mignon to hamburger helper.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't go back. And then I think people get accustomed to you dropping that price or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I think they kind of lose respect for what it is you are offering at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it can be challenging because sometimes you just want to go, okay, well, if I lower this, I could get more people that, you know, but then where's that go? That's not a representation of me. It's like, okay, my price is my price.
That's right.
I gotta keep it.
And if it's not for you, then you're not my client.
Exactly.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what people have to think about is, you know, when you have a business, you're not making friends.
That's
right. Business is business.
That's
it's
right.
Like, you know, discount. I'm like that. Like, with family and stuff like that too. I would be like, oh, ain't no free nothing. Like you know, this is a business. Set aside from everything else.
It's not personal.
This is you don't get just a discount because we're blood.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
Well, tell me how. Oh, I was gonna say it's contradictory, but not in a negative way, because you seem so sweet and so like soft spoken sometimes, and just kind of the kind who would be like, okay. So, but you're very much not that way.
Well, in the kitchen, I'm like Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde because I was just trained that way.
Right.
My personality naturally is a little more reserved, very kind and non-confrontational, all these things. But just because I had to like stand my ground so much in the kitchen, that's how I am. It's just like,
it's easy.
This is how it has to be done. There's no gray areas in the kitchen, and just part of my training is just like that.
Yeah.
Where there's no hard feelings, I can't have any emotions about this.
Right.
You know.
Right.
We always say leave it outside.
Okay.
Whatever your issues are, whatever, leave it outside.
Yep.
When you come in here, we're working.
This is what this is.
This.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't benefit me to just let everybody for free. First of all, everybody in Harrisburg is like my cousin.
Yeah. So you would never make, money.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And it's like, okay, if I'm making a lot of money here and I want to pay for your food, I'll pay for your food.
Yes.
But you can't come in thinking everything's free.
Free.
It wasn't free for me
to buy it, to prep it,
the labor.
Be in here. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that part of it.
Yeah. And for me, that's one of the things that I struggle with, because I'm used to being that way. Like, okay, well, or trying to be considerate or courteous of what people might want to spend. I don't know what they want to spend. I don't know what they don't want to spend. So I think I just naturally go with what I think is reasonable. Yeah. I don't know. It's something I really have to train myself to not do, but I just can't help it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think that's a part of me that a lot of family don't understand.
Okay.
Because I mean, during the pandemic, during my catering, I did this. Yo, you want gumbo? This is $45.
Yeah, run me that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you want a 7-course dinner that I'm doing for all these other people that
do pay
$175 a person?
Yeah.
You pay $175 a person. You get the same exact meal as they have. Mm-hmm. Like, there shouldn't be any difference, because that's just business, and it's hard to do. Yeah. Because they will be mad. Upset. Yeah. And you're like, but I've been trained so much, I just don't even have feeling about it. Okay. I'm just like, no. Yep. No. Yep. That's it. Yeah. And I would want it the same for me. Like, charge me. Yeah. Like, you're doing it. I don't have any problem paying for anything that you do for me. Right. You know? Yeah. And if I'm doing a favor that has nothing to do with the restaurant, that's totally different. Exactly. That's totally different. Right. But yeah, it's very hard to do. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have to, like you said, just take the emotion out of it. I heard someone say that people have their emotions tied to money, and we shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Especially when it's our livelihood. You have to separate how you feel, how people feel about money, especially when it is in regards to your livelihood. So I'm like,
I think that's the hardest thing about your own business too, is you put so much love and passion into it. And then with the money too, and then all these things happen, and you're trying not to cry and put emotion or get angry. That's the hardest thing about business.
It is. It is. But learning, learning and getting stronger with it. So, great story. I love it. Thank you. So, what's next for you? Where do you? I guess in the next year or so, or what's some goals or some things or plans you and your daughter that you guys have going on, or Chef Sachi? What are you going to be up to?
I know. Well, I have a lot of things going on, a lot of avenues. Currently, I work for Catch Steak, which their home base is in New York, but they just opened one in California. Okay. So I'm there right now. There are some talks about possibly moving back up here. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see what happens within the next year.
Well, we would love to have you back.
Yes, I would love to be back. Yeah. There are some other, ventures I want to get into. Yeah. That I can definitely do here. Or anywhere really, but definitely some businesses I want to open up, different kinds. Yes. Actually, not just a restaurant, but just other things. But it usually has to do with food.
Yes. Well, see, when you love to eat like myself, that's always a good thing. And I mean, and that's a universal. People love food. Any type, I think it's a universal way to bring anybody together. Good food makes people feel good.
Yes, so, yes. My daughter is doing very well. She's actually going to a school for entrepreneurship. Okay. So they focus a lot on how to start a business from an idea and yada yada. So that's going. So that's a goal for her that I want. That I really would love to teach all young black youth to be their own business owners. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's definitely something
because we see there's no job security. And even our essential workers are getting laid off and fired. You know what I mean? So I agree. I tell my kids all the time, you better figure out what you want to own. We will wrap now. It was so nice to have you on the podcast. It went great. I had a great time. And I hope everyone learned something. I definitely did. And we appreciate you sharing your story.
Thank you.
And much continued success along the way, which I know you will have. And is there anything, I don't know, what are your, some contact information or your Instagram, or how can people follow you?
Yeah, my Instagram is just Sachi. I also have one for my catering, Lily Bees Catering. Let's see. That's it. That's all I got.
That's what you got?
Yeah. My number. Yeah.
Oh, everything's on there?
Everything's
contact
on,
information?
Yeah, contact information is on my Instagram page. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure.
I'm so glad you were able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm an advocate of supporting Black women.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Black in general. You know? This is our time.
It is our time. I mean, it always is. But
it always is, but right now it's really.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, they're opening up some. They're backing off.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
So yeah, this is our time to flourish.
Yes, Sachi did a beautiful job for us. We had a Black Excellence event in October here in this beautiful kitchen.
Yes.
And did an excellent job. The food was amazing. So I don't know. Maybe I have to fly to California so I can eat.
You are always welcome.
But yes, and I've never been. I've been to Vegas a few times, but I've never been to California. So
yes, definitely come down, please.
I will
show you.
I know we have a classy trip down to Cali.
That would be awesome,
fun.
right?
Yes.
Come through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you again for being on the podcast, and I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
Catch you guys next time. The video will be uploaded to YouTube. The audio will be uploaded to Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio. I'll list everything in the show notes below. Thank you guys, and I hope you write your own story. See ya.